Right, it's studio guest time. A councillor from Wolverhampton hit the headlines not for winning the seat, but because she was the first Labour transgender councillor. She is Anwen Muston. Welcome to the programme.
Thank you, Bob.
Have you got to the stage where you are fed up of everybody mentioning this and talking about it?
Not really, because I think it's important for people to recognise, equality in politics. It's not just about male or female. It's about having a balance of people in there, representative of the communities that people serve.
And after all, it's all about what the job you're doing as a councillor, isn't it?
Indeed, it is. That's very, very important to me and passionate. Being trans and being the first publicly out elected trans councillor, that's good, that's cool, that sends a message out to the trans community. Yes, you can do it. You needn't stay on the sidelines anymore and feel that you can't take part in the decision making that affects everybody's lives day to day. But more importantly, moreover, I was selected by my party ward, for the presentation that I made, for the ability I had from my past experience working with different communities in Wolverhampton, and my achievements.
What sort of reaction did you get on the doorstep?
A very, very positive one. I went to a local mosque one evening, warmly greeted, and the pastor there, Toby, said, look forward to working with you, and hope that you get elected.
Do you meet any hostility still?
You get the occasional bit of hostility, but that's nothing new. The Asian community, the black community, they still get it. These days, and people with disabilities still get it. No more than the average little bit occasionally by bigoted people, who have got a choice. They have got a choice. People, don't have a choice the way that they're born, because they're born differently, with different colour, whether they're gay, whether they're transgender, because it's completely two different issues. People have a choice, whether they abuse you or whether they don't.
Do you get it more online?
There's a little bit on. You get a little bit more online because obviously it's a wider audience, and people who don't recognise trans people as trans people. There's more and more medical evidence there to show that people who have transitioned to identify as trans, relate more to that particular gender, whether it's male to female, female to male. The brain is wired differently. We've got technology, scanners and that there, where they can do these and they can see the differences. Even though people now have come forward and say, well, there's a little bit of flaw in here because some of the evidence doesn't quite show that. But gender isn't fluid. Gender, can be anything. There's nobody that can say, that they 100% male or female. They'll be somewhere within that spectrum.
You said that the people who selected you as a candidate, and then on the doorstep, everybody was made fully aware. Anybody who asked, or people realised.
I've been completely open.
When did you realise? I wonder.
Well, I was very young. I can't remember exactly what age, about 8 or 9.
Really?
I know my mother's watching this now. We were in a shop and I was attracted to girls' clothing and that, and one of my mother turned around and said, "Come away, come away." What will people think? Yeah,
it was what she was thinking, wasn't it?
It's more what I was thinking. But it's very, very hard. If you are trans, you'll never get rid of it. You won't be true to yourself and be yourself unless people can transition and be themselves. For many a year I lived when I got out. Even when I was in the army, I led a double life. Once as my male predecessor. But I'm more happy now than what I've ever been.
You see, I was about to ask a question for people who don't know, no reason why they should. You were 23 years in the army.
Indeed.
You joined up 17 or so, didn't you? I mean, if that isn't a macho world, I don't know what is.
Well, do you know something, Bob? The surprisingly amount of people who have joined the forces, have come out and have transitioned.
Right.
you know, both Army, Navy and Air Force.
Yeah.
And what's fantastic now, unfortunately, it wasn't in my time. I mean, certainly in the time that I served, we didn't have the internet. So even though I had feelings, you know, being a different gender, I didn't know what it was. And I thought, I'm here, I'm home and alone, all by myself. But when I found the internet and found that there's other people out there, same as me, you know, that made a big difference. But then I had the problem for about 10 years or more in understanding and plucking up the courage to actually go to a support group, to meet other people, to find out what their stories were, how they felt, you know, so I could relate. And then, you know, I had to come to terms with myself before I decided to transition. And, you know, when I did, I planned it like a military operation.
As you would.
So I would indeed, yes, you know, I planned, you know, I was an elected member for Wolverhampton's New Deal for Communities. And at the time, but I'd planned it and thought, well, yes, okay, I'll come out at such and such a date. You know, I wanted to be on hormones for a period of time, so I didn't stand out. I wanted to do all my name changing and everything else, and that. And I wanted to have time to get all my clothes, change my wardrobe and everything. And I did it at the end. But going back to where we started this conversation, Bob, about the forces, we've now got transgender people serving in the armed forces, particularly in the army at all levels. That's officer, senior NCO, and junior ranks.
I'm going to have to stop you there because we're out of time. You're a counsellor for everybody. I appreciate your time. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.